Hello guys, and welcome back to another prediction. This time I'm going to talk about the possible box office performance of The Dark Tower. As always, I will start off with a point which works in favor for a good box office performance of the movie. To start things off, I want to talk about the budget. Sony and Columbia made an official announcement a few weeks ago that the production budget of The Dark Tower will sit around $60 million. Of course, the movie is not finished yet and there is still VFX work left to complete, so this 60 million production mark can still actually change a bit. But I think quite honestly that the final production budget will land somewhere around that mark. Let's say they will spend another $30 to $40 million on marketing, so we will talk about total spendings of $100 million on the project The Dark Tower. With that being said, The Dark Tower needs to gross 200 million or more so it can be considered a financial success. This is actually a benchmark which is quite reachable in my opinion. Anything above $160 million when it comes to the total spendings would have been a risk in my opinion, so they did everything right to play it safe right here. A point which is actually not so good for the box office run of The Dark Tower is the competition the movie has to face. Right on the first weekend of The Dark Tower, which is always the most important weekend when it comes to the box office performance of a movie, it has to face off against The Great Wall and A Cure for Wellness. To open against not one but two movies on the first weekend which can steal audiences is basically a horror scenario. When The Dark Tower is not a fantastic movie, it will be affected by those other two releases. When a lot of things are going wrong with the project and The Dark Tower is actually just mediocre or even bad, the other two movies will hurt the performance big time. On the second weekend of The Dark Tower there's really no movie to hurt its run, but on the third and fourth weekend of The Dark Tower's run it has to face Logan and after that Kong Skull Island. These 3 to 4 weeks will be a hard battle between those 5 movies. It will be very interesting to see which one will come out on top. The next thing I want to talk about is the controversy of Idris Elba playing Roland and Matthew McConaughey playing the Man in Black. A lot of fans of the source material, the Stephen King book series which goes by the same name, are not so happy about the changing appearances of the two main roles in the story. As far as I'm concerned, Roland is a thin white person in the books and the Man in Black is a strong black person. For the movie they changed this around, and while it's still unknown why they did it, a lot of fans are already not happy about this decision. What actually works in favor for a good box office performance of the movie is the fact that Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey are playing the lead characters. These two actors are loved all over the planet and they will probably carry the box office a bit higher. The last thing I want to point out is the rating of the movie. While it's still unknown yet if the movie will receive an R rating or an PG-13 rating, in my opinion, both things will hurt the movie. When The Dark Tower receives an R rating, the fans of the source material will be probably more happy, since this would be way more accurate for the story. But an R rating always pulls the box office performance of a movie down. The only exception is probably Deadpool, but I cannot see that this effect will come into play when it comes to The Dark Tower. When the movie will receive a PG-13 rating, the box office will go up, but because of the fans, which will be heavily pissed about this decision, it will go down again. It doesn't matter how you turn the facts around, the rating will be a negative point for the movie. Alright guys, I will now fade in all aspects I just counted which work in favor or not in favor for a good box office performance of the movie, and I will now start with the pessimistic prediction on The Dark Tower. When everything goes wrong with The Dark Tower, I can see the performance to be equal to the performance of Bridge of Spies. Because of the fan base, The Dark Tower will still open with $24 million, and after a multiplier of 3.0, The Dark Tower will finish its domestic performance with 72 million in total. On the overseas front, The Dark Tower will perform a bit better and gross 100 million, for a combined worldwide total of $172 million. With this number, it would be out of the question that The Dark Tower will not get a sequel, and we can all forget our hopes about this movie maybe starting a franchise. But what happens in the realistic scenario? Well, in this scenario, when it takes place, the signs for The Dark Tower are already very good. Let's say The Dark Tower receives an R rating, what is in my opinion still the better decision box office wise. The movie will open with $31 million, and after a multiplier of 3.35, it will finish its run with $103.85 million. On the overseas front, the Dark Tower will gross 195 million in this scenario, so combined this would make up for a gross of $298.85 million worldwide. With this number, the Dark Tower would come close to gross its spendings back 3 times. The movie will be considered a great success for Sony and Columbia, and they will probably start a franchise on this first installment. In the optimistic scenario, the Dark Tower will gross lots of money. In this scenario, the movie will open with $43 million, and after a multiplier of 3.4, it will finish its domestic performance with $146.2 million. On the overseas front, the Dark Tower will gross $260 million, for a combined worldwide total of slightly over $400 million. A great success for all people which worked on this project, and a great success for all people who love Stephen King adaptations. The next video will be a prediction on Logan, and remember, the huge Justice League prediction will come out on November 10th. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I really hope you liked it. If so, be sure to check out these other 3 predictions that I'll link you on the left side, right side and bottom of the frame. Also, when you like what I do here on YouTube, be sure to hit a like and subscribe to my channel. See you soon. Bye bye.